The case of R. V. Lamb is a pivotal authority in English criminal law that clarified the fundamental requirements for the offence of unlawful act manslaughter, also known as constructive manslaughter. Its central principle is that for a conviction, the underlying act must be not merely dangerous, but unlawful in the criminal sense, meaning it must constitute a separate criminal offence with all its necessary elements, including the required mental state, mens rea. Hello and welcome to Landmark Case Laws Simplified. Buckle up as we explore the fascinating world of R. V. Lamb together. Here is a breakdown of the case and its key principles. The defendant, Terence Walter Lamb, and his best friend were playfully joking with a Smith Wesson revolver. Lamb knew the revolver had 2 bullets in its 5-chambered cylinder, but neither bullet was in the chamber aligned with the barrel. Believing the gun could not fire, he pointed it at his friend and pulled the trigger as a joke. However, pulling the trigger rotated the cylinder, bringing a bullet into the firing position. The gun fired, killing his friend instantly. 3 expert witnesses agreed that Lamb's mistake about the revolver's mechanism was a natural one for someone unfamiliar with such weapons. The trial judge directed the jury that they could convict of manslaughter on 2 grounds: 1. Death resulting from an unlawful and dangerous act, or 2. Death resulting from an extreme degree of carelessness or negligence. The jury convicted, stating they found both grounds satisfied. The Court of Appeal quashed the conviction, holding that the trial judge had fundamentally misdirected the jury on the meaning of an unlawful act. R. V. Lamb established a crucial limitation on the doctrine of unlawful act manslaughter, particularly in relation to the case of R. V. Church, 1965. The key principles are: 1. The unlawful act requires a complete criminal offence. The Court of Appeal held that for an act to be unlawful for the purposes of manslaughter, it must constitute a separate criminal offence in its own right. The trial judge had erred by suggesting that pointing a revolver and pulling the trigger could be unlawful, even if there was no attempt to alarm or intent to injure. The prosecution correctly conceded that the act must at least amount to a technical assault. 2. Mens rea is an essential ingredient. Because the proposed unlawful act was an assault, the prosecution needed to prove its elements. An assault requires the victim to apprehend immediate unlawful personal violence, or for the defendant to intentionally or recklessly cause such apprehension. On the facts, there was no evidence of this. The victim was treating the incident as a joke and was not in fear. The defendant had no intention to cause fear or injury. He believed the gun could not fire. Therefore, no assault, and thus no unlawful act, had been committed. 3. A reasonable mistake can negate intent. The case also illustrates that a genuine and reasonable mistake of fact, Lamb's misunderstanding of the gun's mechanism, can negate the mens rea required for the base offence. As the defendant did not have the intent for an assault, the foundation for unlawful act manslaughter was absent. R. V. Lamb remains a cornerstone case for understanding the structure of unlawful act manslaughter. Its legacy is clear. It confirmed that you cannot have unlawful act manslaughter without a lawful act. The unlawful act must be a crime, not merely a civil wrong, and must be proved in full, with its corresponding actus reus and mens rea. The case is frequently cited for the proposition that a defendant's honest and reasonable mistake can prevent the foundational unlawful act from existing, thereby precluding a manslaughter conviction on that basis. Until next time. Thanks for watching.